Welcome to Masterclass series. My name is Mashauri, and we're talking about career. And my guest is Azim Jamal. Welcome, Azim.
Thank you.
Azim, understanding career path and career development. What are these terms refer to?
So career path is where you see yourself grow in a career. So if you're starting with a bank teller, and if your career path is to become a corporate head of the organization, or to be a branch manager, or to be an MD, what's the path you take from where you are to where you want to go? That's your career path.
Okay.
As far as career development is concerned, it's about developing your skills and your knowledge and your learning that makes you become better in what you do, and hopefully that's aligned to your career path. So the development you take has a benefit to the path you want to take, helps your path you want to take.
Okay. Looking back, when you are young, for instance, and I'm sure you had dreams in the future, especially in a career. So if somebody is looking at you now and he has dreams for a career, where does it start? Your career preparations. When should people start?
It's a difficult one because nowadays they say that an average person will change careers maybe 2 or 3 times in their lifetime, right? It's not like you just choose one career.
Okay.
And therefore things happen, things change.
Okay.
So if you ask kids right now, what do you want to become? They're not always very sure. Sometimes in university, second year, they're still not sure, right? And they change later on, or they take one career and find out it doesn't suit them, and then they change another career, right?
Okay.
In my case, let's say I did science in school, I did very poorly. I did accounting later, I did pretty good. But when I changed my career at the age of 43, in 1978, that's when I really found my birthday gift, what I was born to do, right?
Okay.
So in my case, I stumbled into my career, my new path. So it's difficult, but I guess the challenge is, first of all, if you had a choice and money was not an issue, what would you choose? That's number one. Okay. And why would you choose what you choose? In terms of, is it some natural skill you have, or a passion you have? What is it about that? Because if you don't have the passion, if you don't have the joy, if you don't have the enjoyment, then you won't go too far, because anything you do will be difficult. There's nothing easy. But people sometimes don't know what they are. They, people can do some tests to see their personality types and whatnot, and learn from it. But usually, what is your natural skill? I mean, if you're not a outgoing person, then selling and all that will be difficult for you as a job, right? So you need to find out what is it about you that is natural to you, which may fit with the kind of jobs you want to do. Plus, what excites you about life, about what's going on. That also gives you some indication of what you'll be inclined to be excited by in life, right?
Okay. And with the experience you have, for people who are quite successful in career, what do you think are the common elements, the common traits they normally have, which maybe kids can regardless of which career they're going to be, but to be competent, to perform, to be brilliant, to be excellent? What do you think are the things maybe we can impart the skills to our kids to make sure that whatever they do soccer, basketball, athletics, mathematicians, but at the end of the day, they become on the top of their positions?
Well, I think, whatever they choose to do, they have to have some passion and some enjoyment.
Okay.
Because that's very important for them, because more than half your life is at work. If you don't enjoy your work, if you don't have any excitement about what you're doing, sooner or later you'll burn out. So that's number one. Number two is that you'll be responsible in terms of responsible. So whatever you commit, you follow through. You become disciplined, you work at it, and have this hunger to get better and better every day. The Michael Jordans of the world, the Ronaldo of the world, they go to practice first and they leave last, even though they're the best in the world, because they're hungry. So have that hunger to get better and better every day in every way, right? Third is that, have a belief, the confidence, the conviction that I can do it. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else believes in you. When you believe in yourself, the whole world believes in you. So some of the traits that you can inculcate on the kids, which will be very useful for them to be able to succeed.
Okay. In seeking a career opportunity, and this happens so much, especially for the youth, maybe who are graduating from college or university, what are the things when they prepare, to look for the job? What are the things which they need to do to get prepared for the job before maybe they apply by writing CVs, or when they go for the job interviews? What is it that is mostly important?
So I think, at some point the youth need to have some orientation to work.
Okay.
Because work is different from school.
Okay.
So when they do co-ops or take summer jobs, all these are important for them to understand how it works. My son, for example, in his summer holidays, he took a job at the airport at a restaurant.
Okay.
Being an usher or something. And he realized, he got extracted because the hockey team, Canucks team, used to go to the airport and go to the restaurant because they own the restaurant. So he thought, I'll meet all the hockey players and all that.
Okay.
But after a few months, he realized this is not for him. I mean, he was doing a part-time job. It was not his career, but he was trying to make some money and build his resume and get some work experience. And but you try different things to know the work ethic. You have to be there on time. You can't go late to work. You got to wear a certain kind of clothing. Some kind of all these things are part and parcel of simplicity of some simple job requirements that you need to get used to. And the more you try different things, the more you realize, and you learn from each one how you can benefit. But if you can get a job in the career you want, like my daughter is in marketing, and she got a job in marketing as she went along in summertime. She worked for a non-profit fundraising and did different things, but connected to marketing in some way. And now she's a brand manager of a few countries in UK for Johnson & Johnson, one of the biggest companies in the world. But she didn't get there right away. She went through that path of taking jobs that were suitable for her. Right? I think if you can get a job in the area that you want to pursue, ideal. But sometimes kids don't have a choice. They have to come out and get any job they can get just to get some work experience and also make some money. But that should not be their long-term goal. Could be a short-term to get and eventually go into their path.
I read your book, The Power of Giving, and I think one of the things you explained as an example is when you volunteered, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere along the way. Do you think and do you believe like volunteering, especially for the youth who are about to go to the next level in life, in career, is an important aspect? If there's nothing that they're doing, how can volunteership, not necessarily being paid, but saying like, okay, give me the chance to work for you to see what I can do and also to learn from a person, does it really contribute significantly into career opportunities?
Absolutely. If you don't have a job and you want to work in the bank, you go to the bank and say, look, I'd like to volunteer my time. And usually if you have some decent resume, they get a free job, they will probably take you and put you somewhere. And then you work like a donkey, like a really, donkey not in terms of smartness, but in terms of hard work. And then you work smart like a genius. And they'll say, wow, this guy, I'm not even paying him, and he's working so well and so hard. What will happen if I pay him? You're hired. So you prove yourself, because you got a chance to prove yourself. So and plus in volunteering in non-profit organization, in communities, it's great. It teaches you leadership skills, interpersonal skills, many skills that you otherwise wouldn't know. I remember I did a lot of volunteer work in my childhood, and when I came down to the real world, I had so many skills other people didn't have, and I was wondering where did I get it from. When I look back, all from volunteering my time. And so volunteering does help you develop your skills.
It's not for nothing, you're gaining actually by volunteering.
Absolutely.
Okay, people actually write CVs every day, but I just want your practical experience. I'm sure you have hired and you consult HR managers. I want to know what exactly people look at. If I receive a CV of a person, what do I look at in a CV? Because CV is not a guarantee that I have a job, but at least it introduces you to the company. What are the most important things people should consider writing a CV? So
if you are applying for a job in my business, the first thing you should do is study my business. Go to my website, look what I'm doing, study me as a person, know something about me and my company so that you know what appeals to me and what business I am in.
So it shouldn't be something uniform or formatted.
And then you tailor your CV to attract me for what you can do. Right? So that could be the starting point, right? And then nobody has time to read 20 pages. So you can have a one-pager, like a summary, and then say anything else extra you can provide, right? Or you can say, this is my one-pager, there are a few more pages as a backup if you want to look at it, but this one page summarizes everything I do. So I look at the one page, if it attracts me, I can look at the other pages. If I don't, then I can leave it. But in the one page, what are you doing that hits me? What are the qualities that you are bringing up that can be very useful to my company, because you know my company and you know what I need. So that is very important, right? It's not the quantity of information. What you did in 1965 is not relevant. Don't put it down. What's important is what have you done now? what is done recently, right? So that's your, I mean, you can put background stuff, but more important, what have you done lately?
Okay. The good thing about you, Azim, you ever got employed and you have employed yourself, so you have the employee and the employer perspective. I want to learn from you when you go or you attend an interview or when you interview, what you're looking at in a person when they walk in for the interview. What are the qualities people should technically be keen about if I have to win an interview?
I mean, you got to dress for success.
Okay.
If you dress shabby, if you are late in the interview, all this is not a good sign for the employer, right?
Okay.
So dressing well, being on time, being early, your attitude, your demeanor signifies you're a winner or a loser. The way you walk inside, the way you smile, the way your body looks, the way you interact, or the demeanor conveys a lot of you. Can I trust this person? Is the person got the right attitude? There's some studies done in Stanford University. I think it said 87.5% of success comes from attitude. Only 12.5% comes from skills and other things. Okay. So your attitude does matter, because people are saying, I'm going to work with him. Is he the kind of guy I want to work with, or a girl I want to work with, right?
Okay. And this is a very tricky question I normally receive from people, especially those who attend interviews. They say, Paul, if I'm being asked like how much salary I want, what should be the right answer? Because some people are getting scared. Like if I say this amount, then I'll look like I'm greedy, I want more. And if I don't say it, it may look like I don't know my value or my worth. So what should be an approach?
So you do some homework and some research around the kind of jobs that you're getting and what the market is paying, etc., etc. And if the prospective employer puts you on the spot, and you say, look, this is what I've researched, but I don't know what your budgeting is and whatnot. All I know is I'm worth and I can prove myself.
Okay.
So I'm willing to start somewhere, but with a view of a periodic, very early review to determine my worth, because I want to prove myself that I'm worth a lot more. But I don't want to ask for it without proving myself.
Okay. And the other question, which is also very difficult, and sometimes people say, Paul, they tell me like, okay, what is my weakness? Okay, I can tell about my strength is, but they're asking about my weaknesses. Should I be honest and say this is what I can't do, or how should I respond to?
I think the key is that they're watching your honesty, they're watching your confidence, they're watching your integrity, and they're watching your authenticity. So you want to be honest without over-exaggerating your weaknesses.
Okay. So assume you're attending a job interview and they're asking you to tell them about your weaknesses. How would you respond?
Good question. I would say my weakness is that I get very frustrated with inefficiencies. When people are inefficient, it really bugs me. When people don't keep punctuality of time, that really bugs me. So I need to work on not getting too worked up about people's inefficiencies, but try to inspire, engage, empower, and uplift them to become more efficient.
Okay. And what about the people who actually hire, and maybe it's HR department, and they need to recruit people? What are the most important things they need to prepare before they start the job of asking or announcing for the opportunities, to get the right people they're looking at?
Yeah, then you should be very clear about what the gap is in the organization and what they're looking for to plug the gap. What are they looking for in terms of the critical skills the person should have to meet their objectives of the hiring process. And of course, make sure that they take reference checks and spend time on the reference checks and spend time with the person they're talking to and dig deep to understand what this person's about, why he left the job, how long he worked, what was his attitude. Many questions that are relevant for your hiring. My daughter went for her first interview when she finished university. She was interviewed by 8 people, 2 at each time, 4 different locations.
Why?
Because they were looking at her in the morning at the office interview, at lunchtime interview, in the evening somewhere, and social setting, to look at all and seeing the consistency of the person in 4 different areas.
Okay.
Somebody can lie on one place, but then the other place they found out, So because they take hiring very seriously, because big companies like Starbucks and others, they hire slow but they fire fast, because they take hiring seriously, because once you hire and then you let them go, it's very costly, because the time you involve, train, orient, and then let them go.
And for companies which they hire so many times, what is the right model? Should they hire directly as a company, or they should use recruitment agency? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of the same?
Well, I think using recruitment agencies is because they have a pool of people already. They're in the business of doing that. It saves you time looking for people. So that's one advantage of using a recruitment agency. And if the recruitment agency is a good one, they will have the skills to zero in on the clients or the staff that are appropriate for you. Okay, hiring on your own, you save some money of paying the recruitment agencies. You get a chance to, you're going to get a chance to interview them anyways, whether the recruitment agency comes in or not, because you won't hire anybody, right? Even after they've chosen a few people for you, you'll still go through a rigorous approach of interviewing, right?
Yeah. And one of the things which I know is a very big, especially for SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises, when it comes to hiring, is the clarity of the roles. When you're talking about the job description, if you are to help somebody whose job is to do that, what should he or she really be careful about when assigning roles?
Yes, I think the first step would be, what is the objective of this hiring before you got into the role of the person? What do you want this person to achieve? What does success look like for this person? Starting with the end in mind, and then saying what are the characteristics this person should have, background, the educational knowledge. Your goal is to cut down the learning curve. You don't want somebody to come in and you got to spend 2 years teaching him or her about the job. So it is very expensive, right? So if somebody has a background, that helps. On the other hand, sometimes you don't want somebody who is so much of a background that they are so set in their ideas that they cannot change. So it's a balance, right?
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Azim. I think we are done with the first half of our discussion. We'll go for a short break and then we'll come back again and continue the discussion. Thanks for watching Masterclass. We're coming back soon.
In the olden days, there was not much change happening technologically, globalization, but now with technology and globalization, there's a lot of things moving very fast. Well, I think change can have many implications. There could be change of your role in the business, there could be change of the way you work, there could be change in how you're going to be measured for your success, but you'll never grow as a leader, you'll never grow as a business if you don't have a decision.
Welcome back to Masterclass series. I am Paul Mashauri and my guest speaker is Azim Jamal, and we're talking about career. Azim, people want to grow, especially at workplaces, and they would wish to see climbing the ladder of success every day in their career. Now, putting myself in a situation whereby I want to move, from the one stage to another with the upgrading my skills as well, but I'm not more likely able, for instance, to compromise my work. What should I do to make sure that I get enough time to increase my skills, to build capacity, even if it is tough at workplace, but I have to make sure that I don't compromise the quality of what I deliver, but at the same time, I grow over time.
So again, my colleague, Dr. Stephen Covey, used to say that there are 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is important but not urgent. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. And Quadrant 4 is not urgent, not important. So if you want to do what you just said, you need to focus more on Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Which means in your workplace, if you focus on the 20% customers who give you 80% profit, if you focus on the 20% effort that gives you 80% return, if you focus on the 20% team that allows you to get 80% results, suddenly you're getting your results faster. Okay, that allows you some more time to do the development work, which makes you better at what you do. And it's Quadrant 2 work because it's not urgent, but it's important. World-class companies spend 65% of their time on Quadrant 2 because it's a quadrant of quality. So that's how you go about your time and work, and same thing at home. Focus on Quadrant 2. What is a Quadrant 2 activity at home that gives you the highest results with least effort? Putting your son to sleep at night who is young can be the Quadrant 2 quality because you can tell them stories, you can bond with them, you can give them wisdom. So rather than just doing chores and laundry and all that, which is okay, but it's not really a Quadrant 2 activity.
Okay. For companies, especially when it comes to strategies, and I've seen this and I have experience on the same, sometimes where they have to make decisions to cut costs, they invest less in knowledge and skills when it comes to career development for the staff. Do you think these are right decisions, and what are the costs on the same?
Yeah, I mean, there's no black and white answer. It depends on the situation. But if you have even a culture in the organization where all the leaders are mentors and coaches of their people, they're already developing them as it is by setting goals with them, giving them feedback, accountability. It's a starting point. Okay. Secondly, then how do you optimize the outside resources to optimize the results you want, right? So there are ways to be creative, because it's not about resources, the money you don't have. It's about being resourceful.
What are the difference?
The resources is the money or the things you have. Resourceful is the creativity, the innovation, the dynamism you have, whereby you're able to get more from less. Okay. Just like Walmart many years ago was a very small company, 55 years ago, and today it's the world's #1 company. It didn't have that much resources when they started off, but they were resourceful.
Azim, I want to know from you the difference between changing jobs and changing career. What is the line of demarcation between the two?
So changing jobs is, you go from one job to the other because the salary drives you and the money drives you, and you need the money to pay the bills. And the second one you said was career job. Career move is more about what you want to do in your life, and you decided to change career, like I did from accounting for business to accounting for life. Okay. I changed career. I didn't change jobs. I left my 3 professional careers, which took me 15, 20 years to get, and changed to doing something that has no connection to accounting directly. That's a change of career. Okay. It's not a change of jobs, right? Okay. But so that's the difference between those two.
And when people change jobs, for instance, nowadays young people, and when it comes to handsome payments, sometimes they're being poached or being promised high pay, and they keep on changing jobs. How many jobs reasonably do you think maybe somebody can change over time? Or what are the most important things to consider if you want to change a job from one job to another?
It's a very interesting question from a point of view that when an employer looks at somebody changing so many jobs, do they feel that I don't want to hire this person because he or she will leave? Or they look at by saying, this person has so much experience in so many different places, he or she can add value to my company. In the olden days, being loyal for many years in one company was a positive. Now it's not necessarily the only positive, because people look at somebody who has not moved at all, probably doesn't have much experience and is set in his idea. So it's really a balance, in terms of too many jobs or no jobs, right? In terms of movement, right? Okay. So I think as far as you're concerned, moving to some other job for a bit of more money, sometimes you're required to do because you need the money. But really you should look at the career path, the career development, your growth, what they're teaching you, what you're going to learn, what company you're going to, which has a good background and brand. That when you say to somebody, I work for Google, they say, wow, Google is a very cool place to work at. It's very difficult to find a job in Google, for example.
In terms of significance and in terms of value addition, does changing jobs add value? For instance, if I change a job from one bank to go to another bank, and then I change from the other bank, which I've just shifted, going back to the original or the former company, is it adding value for me? Like, people consider you now, you deserve more pay or more attention, or it's not necessarily the case?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think I just met a person who had gone from one phone company to another in another country, and now he's come back to head this new phone company in terms of MD, right? But the reason they hired him was because he had so much experience working in many countries, and now he's come back and he brings a different wealth of experience. Okay. So there's no black and white. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on what kind of experience you had when you left. It depends on how you left the company, whether you stole money and left or what happened. So I think there are all these factors one has to look at.
And what about career change now?
Career change, I think, that if you're not happy with one career, if you feel that you haven't found the career that you really are passionate about, then you got to give an open mind. Like in my case, I had 3 degrees. I had a good job. In fact, I own businesses, and I still own them in my professional accounting degree and career. But I changed them because my heart was somewhere else. I still have the other businesses running, but I'm doing something different. And I feel that I found my birthday gift, and I'll die with it, right? But it took me a long time to find it. So there's no harm in looking for what is really your heart calling out for.
When people are inspired to switch career and to move from being employed to self-employment, they are normally associated with so much risks, and sometimes it may also affect your life, personal life, including the family. Because when you're guaranteed with the security of the paycheck at the end of the day, it happens this time around. Now you have to gamble, you have to struggle, you have to depend on your own. It's not necessarily understood to everyone, maybe the kids, and this may be confusing at times. So before I switch from from employment to self-employment, how should I manage the transition?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think most people who go into self-employment think I'm going to be my own boss. Okay, and then they find out that I'm actually my slave, because I'm the most guy who's been the hardest work and more hours than I ever worked before.
And sometimes I have to do everything.
Yeah, and then I still don't have a paycheck, right? So people need to realize that it's not just a bed of roses to go into your own business. However, if you look at success stories, people who have made the most money, they made in their own business, either their own business or they buy property or something which appreciates in value, right? So there are plus and the minus. So the key is going into your own business. If you have a drive to do so, by all means. But how can you minimize the risk of the business? How can you optimize the results of the business? And what you need to learn to be able to do that is important, so that you save, that you get more done in less time. You're able to engage people more effectively. You're going to empower people more effectively, so they're able to deliver more and get better results.
And for entrepreneurs who have never been employed, so they don't have any sense of employment, they don't know the code of ethics in employment, but they need to hire people and they need to manage the career aspect of the organization. What are the skills necessary for them to build in order to have this sense of corporate, leadership, and how to handle, how to manage, how to treat employees, and how to, help them to grow in their career?
Yeah, I mean, those who've been entrepreneurs from day one and have done well, they know what to do. Because, as Aristotle says, wisdom is only wisdom if it's practical. So they got practical wisdom and it worked for them. But having people who are the HR people who have experience in hiring and firing and working can provide the balance. Okay.
And if I have to develop some sort of career development programs within the organization, what do you recommend? What should I do basically to have the structure which supports career development internally?
Yeah, so I think the issue is that you should look at your gaps in the organization. What are the things you need to work on? For example, succession planning will be one important one. So if every leader has a right-hand person who is groomed to become the next in line for that position, you already have covered. If somebody goes, somebody leaves a job, gets a new job, gets sick, you got a second in command who can take over. Number one. Number two is when you have a second in command, the leader becomes more effective because he or she is delegating a lot to the second in command who can do most of the firefighting and operational work. So the leader can now be visionary and strategic. Second advantage, right? So I look at the organization and say, where are the gaps we have? Leadership gaps, time management gaps. What are the gaps? And we develop people on those skills so that we are able to overcome our challenges that we are facing.
And in terms of human capital development now, because at the end of the day, even if you're hiring, but again, you have to receive these people from universities, from colleges, and sometimes it has to do with the education system. What are your experiences? What are the best practices what need to be fixed in education systems in order to produce people who are qualified, competent at the dynamic marketplace?
From university, you mean?
Yeah, especially from the university.
Yeah, so I think that the kind of lecturing that they have in university, they have to have some academics to give them the basic knowledge, but they should also have some people from the industry, the work experience, who can share with the people what goes on in real life.
And how does it contribute to internship, for instance? How do we, for instance, in our organizations receive interns, and what need to be done as an intern, and if you're accepting interns, in order to add value to them before they go to their career choices? It's
a good point. I think the issue is that many companies go to the universities to scout for interns, right? Because if the university is good, have a good track record, then they will go and visit and then have people apply for the internship because they know these colleges normally provides good people. Like my daughter's case, the company she worked for first was called Regit Bankisar. They went to the Queen's University to scout for people who are potential. And my daughter applied to them, and then of course through many interviews she got the job. But they do that every time, and then next time my daughter went herself for the company to get more people from there. But they look for the people with the certain kind of skills that they want, and then of course they do some training for them before they go out in the real world. Nowadays the world has become like a global village and people look for opportunities everywhere. I know you have an experience working in the UK, in Canada, in Tanzania, and everywhere.
if somebody would like, for instance, to go and search for opportunity somewhere else, but he has no clue where to start, or what would you advise? How do you start looking for jobs elsewhere? Maybe in Asia, Australia, America, Africa.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be difficult in terms of because the person hiring will start wondering what will this person know about the culture and the country and whatnot. But I think if you have the qualification, if you have the track record of really great success, and you're willing to prove yourself in the new country and apply for something that you're very much fit to do, the global village. I mean, the whole world today works on the internet. People buy things from everywhere. They don't care where they're buying from. So as long as it meets their needs, they buy it. So the world is a level playing field, and people want to get the best people, no matter where they are from. So if you have the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, then you'll always be attractive.
For someone with the difficulties, actually, for instance, people who are disabled or with certain deficiencies, and yet they can deliver, they can perform, but sometimes segregated or ignored because of this kind of deficiencies. At personal level, how do they manage this, and how do they not, capitalize in this, but try to push and work hard and get inspired to move to another level? What do you tell them?
Well, if you look at some examples, like Beethoven was deaf.
Like who?
Beethoven, the music composer,
Okay.
was deaf but he composed the best music. How can a deaf person compose music? But yet he did. Stevie Wonder is blind, but he sings some beautiful songs, right? So people with supposedly physical disabilities have proven themselves to achieve great things. So nothing could stop you if you're so good, and if you believe in it, and if you produce good results, then nobody will care whether you have a disability or not, because you're getting the results that people want.
And you've mentioned about Steve Wonder now. I remember, sometimes people consider employment or career as formal jobs, like working at a bank or something like that. But what do you tell people, especially in creative industries like art and technology, where do you see opportunities, and how can young people, especially young people, grab such opportunities?
If you look at what's happened to Facebook and Google and WhatsApp, young kids have been involved in many of these companies and built the companies and become multi-billion companies, and all they have is an idea and the internet to work with, right? So the sky is the limit. What you want, if you believe, if you have an idea, if idea has legs and you're willing to stand behind your idea and promote it, you can achieve great success.
With the global experience, Azim, how can somebody transform an idea into a career or create a job out of an idea?
So if the idea is very strong, you have a good business case around it, you sell this idea to the prospective buyers, joint ventures, whatever, and people support that idea, then with their support, financial, with your idea, with the right skill set, you can take it wherever you want to take it.
Thank you so much, Azim. This is quite transformational.
Pleasure.
And I'm very impressed with that.
Pleasure.
Amazing job.
Thank you.
You're watching a Masterclass series, and my name is Mashauri. At the studio, I was with Azim Jamal, and thanks for watching.